Yep, we're ready.
Good evening. The Poolesville Board of Appeals is now in session. My name is Pilar Garrett, and I am the chairperson. With me tonight are board members Laura Eckhart, to my right, Russell Jones at the end over here, Kavita Jain here, and our newest member, Neil, is it Tiemann?
Tiemann.
Okay. Tonight we have a public hearing for variance application 00825, submitted by Roger Yerger for the property located at 19530 Fisher Avenue, Poolesville, Maryland. This variance is a request to construct a 12 by 16 accessory building that exceeds the maximum floor area allowed for an accessory building by 46 square feet. This application is made pursuant to Section 10D3 of the Poolesville Zoning Code to authorize a variance from the development standards in Sections 3C. Procedural ground rules. This is a quasi-judicial proceeding. All testimony will be taken under oath, and the board will make its decision based on findings of fact and conclusions of law. Any person wishing to testify or speak must first be sworn in. Please state your name and address for the record before speaking. The board may request technical and/or factual evidence from the Planning Commission or other agencies during this session. I ask everyone to maintain decorum and keep comments relevant to the specific criteria for this variance. I will now enter the following documents into the official record as exhibits. Exhibit 1, the formal application for variance. Exhibit 2, the affidavit of service and posting confirming the sale was marked with a public notice signed for at least 15 days. Exhibit 3, proof of legal notification to continuous property owners and publication in a newspaper of general circulation. Exhibit 4, the technical recommendation from the Poolesville Planning Commission. I now call upon the town staff to present their report.
Perfect. All right. So this is what I'm going to just sort of highlight for you is what was given to you already, which is the staff report. On November 8th, 2025, the applicant, Roger Yerger, applied for a variance to replace his shed at 19530 Fisher Avenue. This variance is due to the development standards, which set the maximum size of an accessory building at 150 square feet. The applicant plans to build a shed measuring 192 square feet, and so that's the variance in about 42 square feet. This property is zoned for 1/3 of an acre, is in the 1/3 acre zone, I should say. There is a shed on the property, approximately 390 square feet, and a garage, approximately 708 square feet. And in the application, you will see the plat which shows all of the relevant buildings, the current shed, the current garage, and then the location of the new one, so of what he's proposing. Just as a note, the code allows larger sheds when there are fewer than 2 accessory buildings on the property, provided that the new shed is less than 300 square feet. So there's a provision that allows for you to have 2 sheds that count as one. In that circumstances, new accessory buildings would be considered, or one new accessory building would be considered 2 accessory buildings for the purposes of the code. This provision does not apply in this case due to the garage that was already on the property. And another thing to note is that the house is from 1944. Based on town records, the old shed and the garage are also from the middle of the 20th century, so either at the time of construction or shortly thereafter. So they would be considered under the code, and Kevin can correct me if I'm wrong, but they would be considered allowable use under the code because it was basically, for lack of a better word, grandfathered in when the code was when the current zoning code was approved in 1981. So those buildings predate the code. So the staff analysis. So under the variance provision of the zoning ordinance, the applicant must demonstrate that the peculiarities of the lot or a hardship are present to grant variance. In this case, the applicant is basing their request on 2 factors. The first is that the lot in this case is larger and closer to the half-acre lot than it is to the third of an acre for which it was zoned in. And this property pre-existed, again, the creation of the zone as well. So that also plays into it. Second, the current shed and garage were erected, as I said, before the current zoning went into effect. Therefore, neither meets the code requirements, and granting the variance would allow the applicant to remove the current shed, thereby decreasing the property's overall lot coverage from 9.6% to 8.8%. And even this new shed would be a smaller shed than what would be allowed in the half-acre zone. So again, this is as the code also requires, a sort of minimally a minimum amount of variation, if you will, from the code. At the December 10th Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this variance to the Board of Zoning Appeals, and staff concurs with the Planning Commission's recommendation for approval. Are there any questions of staff?
No, it's just a couple questions.
Yes.
The applicant can probably weigh on this too. What is the shed height?
Oh, the shed height, you mean of the new shed?
Yes. I mean, it looks like a one-story, but
It
is
was like, it was in, I believe it was, didn't you say it was 12 feet was what it was?
So the,
Oh, yes, go ahead. State your name and address for the record.
Roger Yerger, I live at 19530 Fisher Avenue in Poolesville. I'm the owner and resident of the property. The shed is going to be built and incorporating an existing retaining wall. So I've designed it so that it has a shed roof. It's not a peaked roof. On the low side, the slab side, it will be approximately 8 to 9 feet. As it slopes up, you get to the high side, it will be 11 to 12 feet, but because of the retaining wall from the grass, it will still be about 8 feet.
Okay. And when I look at it from the street, right, I drive by, and I was looking at it, and because of the elevation, right, that there's sort of a rise up to where the house is, and then I think it kind of slopes back, so do you anticipate there'll be much of a view of from the street of this?
Little, if any.
Okay.
Possibly one could see just the peak if one were walking on the sidewalk. From a car, I don't believe so. I'd actually have to go and look at the sight lines, but if you can see anything, it would be very low. Plus, there is also a fence
Right.
that breaks up the visual line.
Yeah. And what color will the shed be? Is it going to match the picture we have, or the drawing here with the?
Roughly, it's going to be, personally, I'm leaning towards green, but it's going to be a relatively neutral color. Hardy plank siding. Ideally, I'd like to do something that contrasts with the brick house, but that's up for, it's not going to be pink.
Yeah, that's the important part, right? One of the part of what we look at is, will any of it adversely impact the neighbors? And so it's not going to be fluorescent orange.
No.
And what about any lights? Do you anticipate putting any motion lights or other lights on the shed?
Exterior, possibly a small not a floodlight, just some exterior lighting for working outside during the summer. But I don't anticipate any motion-activated lighting. Even if there were, it would only face, it would not face the south neighbor.
Okay.
And the west neighbor, there's a line of trees. And the north neighbor, there's also a line of trees.
Okay. Excellent. Is there anything associated with what you're going to do with the shed that would create noise that would impact neighbors?
No, basic storage and minor workshop, it's a garden shed.
Okay. Is there anything else that you could think of that might adversely impact public health, welfare, safety, or neighbors?
I don't believe so. I view this as something of an upgrade. The previous shed was in disrepair, and when it's gone.
Oh,
I had it demolished when I had the pool removed. As they were pulling it down, they found various issues with it where I'm glad it's gone. There were animals living underneath it, et cetera. This shed is going to be on solid concrete slab, modern construction, and I don't see anything that would impact the neighbors or the community.
okay, excellent, thank you. Those are my questions.
So now we're going to swear him in after he's given his testimony.
I think it's, because, Kevin, I guess that's the question. Does the applicant need to be sworn in as well? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's just do that, and then we can say that that has taken place.
Will the applicant and any witness to the applicant please stand to be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You now may present your case, and please explain the special conditions peculiar to your property and why a strict enforcement of the ordinance results in a hardship.
The existing property, when I bought it, had a very large but very old shed, probably dating to the time of construction of the house in 1944. It had fallen into disrepair, and the previous owners at some point had done improvements to the shed that weren't necessarily improvements. This created a desire to get rid of that shed. It was also very close to the neighbor's property line, which neither of us was really happy with, although it was a pre-existing condition. So I had a desire to replace the shed. However, as things happened, the shed had various belongings, et cetera, in it, and I simply couldn't fit what I had in the old shed into the new shed. With that in mind, looking at the various restrictions in various law, complying with Poolesville regulations, limits on that property on an R1/3 property to 150 square feet. Montgomery County building permit, which I also need to acquire, has a fast track permit for 200 feet and under. Above 200 square feet, they require full-blown architectural and engineering drawings. That obviously wasn't going to happen. So given this upper limit of 200 square feet, I looked at the size of the property and how a 200 square foot shed would fit in with what I believe the intent of the zoning was. And I believe that a 200 square foot shed would not be oversized. It's not out of proportion for the size of the property as it is. It will be neater, better built. It won't be an eyesore. And it will be away from the neighbor's property lines, giving a cleaner delineation of our fencing and property lines. So that's the reason why I requested a variance.
Okay, thank you. Does the board have any final questions for the applicant or staff?
The only question, thank you. The only question that I have is, how will water run off from this versus the prior structure?
The concrete slab is already sloped. It was a pre-existing concrete slab. Is already sloped at probably about 1%, which is a typical slope. It's a 5-inch thick concrete slab. It's not going anywhere. The orientation of the shed roof is such that it will hit the roof, go towards the west, which is where the open yard, where the pool was, where the open yard is now, hit the concrete, roll off into the grass. There really shouldn't be any issues with channeling runoff or anything like that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. The board will now deliberate. We must find that the hardship can be alleviated.
Point of order. Point of order. Madam Chair, please allow the applicant to place any further testimony or evidence that he wishes to place into the record at this time.
Do you have anything else, Mr. Yerger?
Nothing that's particularly pertinent.
Let me ask a
Whoop.
Oops, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, shoot. I hit the wrong thing. I was trying to do one thing. I will get him back.
Okay.
Hang on. Wrong one. I will. I was trying to do something to the sound. Hang on. Sorry about that, Kevin. I just had a technical issue. I apologize. Give me one more second here and go.
Hello?
Yep, 1 second. Okay, Kevin, sorry about that. We had a technical glitch there. So you can say what you're going to say. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Mr. Yerger, good evening. I want to make sure the record's complete for the board. So my question is, can you please describe your lot compared to the other lots in the same zone, the 1/3 acre zone in Poolesville, in terms of what type of accessory improvements are found on those? And that would make your property unique. Perhaps your property is a larger property compared to the other similarly subdivided lots. Can you comment on that?
Certainly. My property is roughly rectangular shaped. It was subdivided out of the original Fisher Forest in 1944. It is a little bit over a half an acre. When the zoning was put in place, this property is sort of unique among that area. So the entire area was zoned at 1/3 acre residential lots. So the property, my property is substantially larger than most of the other properties surrounding it.
Thank you.
Sure. Excuse me.
I have no further questions, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now does the board have any, we didn't have any other final questions, and the board will now deliberate. We must find that the hardship can be alleviated without affecting the general purpose and intent of the ordinance, and two, the granting of the variance will not be detrimental to the community as a whole. So,
That makes sense to me based on the testimony.
yeah, shall we just go ahead and take a vote? Take a vote. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, all right, thank you. I move that we conditionally approve variance application 008-25 Is there a second? Okay, thank you, Laura. Conclusion. The board has reached a conditional decision, a formal written opinion containing our findings of fact, and the grounds for our decision will be issued and filed within the town records. The board will approve the written decision in open session or the next meeting of the body. This hearing is adjourned. And thank you, Mr. Yeager.
Thank you.
Thank you, board. And Miles.